What if this message wasn't a coincidence? What if Allah led you here because your heart is ready? You feel something. You can't really explain it. A gentle restlessness, a nameless expectation, as if your soul knows a change is coming, but your mind hasn't yet understood what. Listen carefully. When Allah wants to love you through someone, He begins by isolating you. When Allah wants to prepare you to receive, He removes everything that has taught you to be content with less. You think you're in a season of silence, but you're in the midst of divine preparation. What if I told you your confirmation is coming, but not the way you imagine, not in the likes, not in the missed calls, but in a pure calm, a sudden certainty? You saw nothing coming, and yet everything was already written. What you are about to discover is not just any human love. It is a love sent, validated, and guided by Allah Himself. Stay with me. What you are about to hear could well be the answer you've been waiting for. 1. The love you didn't see coming. A silent divine response. What if you were already at the heart of an answer that your soul recognizes, but your mind doesn't yet dare call an answer? You live, you move forward, you cling to your invocations like an invisible thread. You ask Allah again and again, with that trembling tone that comes from the void we cannot explain. You want love, but not just any love. You want a love that looks at you with the light of Rahmah, a love that sees beyond your face, that touches your soul, and that knows its value even in its silences. But nothing happens. No message, no clear dreams, no voices in the night, nothing. Just the same routine, the same places, the same emptiness, and you think it's absence. You think it's Allah's silence. But in reality, it's His answer, silent, subtle, almost invisible. You see, when Allah prepares a heart to love in His name, He begins by distancing it from everything that doesn't resemble His love. He dries up empty relationships. He closes unhealthy doors. He puts a distance between you and anything that could have seemed like a mirage. And you cry. You think you've lost. But you haven't lost anything. You're simply healing. He hasn't forgotten you. He's elevating you. What you feel as emptiness is the space your heart is reclaiming to contain something greater, a love that doesn't crush, a love that doesn't consume, a love that remembers Allah even in silence. And while you continue to move forward in this strange calm, another soul somewhere is experiencing the same sacred solitude. They pray without knowing for whom. They grow without knowing why. They reform because Allah places in their heart a pressing sensation, nameless but full of intention. Two souls in divine preparation, but no signal, no noise, no dramatic music, no Hollywood coincidences. Only a peace that slowly begins to settle, a strange calm after inner storms, a withdrawal from the world to draw closer to the Lord. And then there will be a moment, a random day, a seemingly insignificant detail, and your heart will know. Without explanation, without logic. You won't know how you know. You will know, that's all. For the love Allah sends doesn't strike like lightning. It enters like a breeze, slow, soothing, clear, and above all, it makes no noise because it doesn't need to. You will recognize this person, not because they speak perfectly, but because in their presence, you will have less need to explain, less need to prove. You will feel understood without speaking. And you will understand that true love is the kind that pushes your soul to bow down more deeply, not to turn away. There may not be a grand scene, no bouquet of shouted answers, but there will be peace, an inner tranquility that is the mark of Allah. And if you are still waiting today, remember this: Allah's silence is never empty. It is laden with mercy. What you cannot see may already be being wrapped up for you, and what you feel in your heart may not be loneliness. It may be the space Allah has sanctified to accommodate something pure, something that bears His name, something that will heal where the world has only wounded. So don't seek noise, seek peace. That is where you will recognize it. It is not a love like any other. It is a love sent. 2. Prepare your heart, not your timeline. Do you want to be loved? Then prepare yourself to be loved. Not in your appearance, not in your Instagram profile, not in the filter you choose or the way you express yourself on WhatsApp. Prepare your heart. Because what you seek won't come because you posted it at the right time or added a good verse in the caption. It will come because Allah sees that you are finally capable of receiving what you asked Him for. Do you want someone who prays at dawn? Start by no longer delaying your own prayer. Do you want someone who loves you for your soul? Learn to love Allah in silence, even when you feel nothing. Do you want someone who knows how to listen to you? Start by learning to speak to Allah sincerely, without masks, without pride, without fear. Because here's the truth. Allah doesn't give you what you ask for. He gives you what you're ready to bear. And sometimes you're not ready yet, even if you think you are. This is where many get lost. They want serious relationships without being serious about their relationship with Allah. They want signs without making tawbah. They want to meet someone pure while keeping illicit conversations in their DMS. Do you see the inconsistency? Allah is Al-Adl, the just. He doesn't expose you to something you could ruin through your spiritual immaturity. He delays it to protect you. And meanwhile, you look at the timeline. You see engagements, weddings, perfect smiles. You compare your life to filtered excerpts, and you begin to believe that Allah has forgotten you. But He hasn't forgotten you. He's dragging you along, because the person you're asking for won't come to bring you peace. They'll come to confirm a peace you've already built with your Lord. You know what many people don't know? It's not the encounter that transforms you. It's the transformation before the encounter that allows you to recognize it. Allah doesn't send you someone to repair you. He sends you someone when you're healing. And sometimes He delays this encounter so that you don't turn this person into an emotional idol. He wants you to come into this relationship knowing who you are, not seeking yourself through the other. You see, every prayer you say, every sin you abandon, every tear you secretly shed, these are steps towards yourself, towards a version of yourself you haven't even met yet. And that's where true preparation begins, not in a rush to please, but in a sincere desire to please Allah. So yes, work on yourself, not to become perfect, but to become aware of your worth, aware of your place with Allah, aware of what you are capable of offering without having to beg to be loved. And you will see, Allah is the best of planners. He knows when your heart is ready. He knows when your soul has let go. And it's often at this moment, between two prayers, after a sincere istighfar, or even in a simple act, like reaching out to someone, consoling, smiling, serving, that confirmation descends, not in the form of a noise, but of gratitude, a look, a calm, a familiar feeling. And your heart will say effortlessly, "Oh Allah, this is why you made me wait." Not to suffer, but to learn to love with your eyes, not to fill a void, but to build unity. Don't prepare your timeline. Prepare your inner self, for what is meant for you will come, not because you rushed it, but because you earned it. 3. Allah's love opens the way to human love. Before someone can love you with a pure love, Allah must have already loved you. For everything begins with Him. Everything. Even what you think is a simple crush may have been written long before you knew it. When Allah loves His servant, He purifies him. He protects him. He removes from his life anything that could corrupt what he has planned for him. He closes doors, sometimes brutally, because your heart doesn't see what he, in his wisdom, already knows. Do you wonder why some people have drifted apart? Why didn't that plan for a union come to fruition? Why didn't the one you loved see you, choose you? What if this was precisely proof that Allah is shaping you for something greater? Someone who will know how to love you through Allah and not through his whims. When Allah loves you, He places your presence in hearts He Himself has purified. He makes some people see you not with their eyes, but with their souls. That kind of gaze that cannot be explained. That kind of connection that depends neither on past, nor physical appearance, nor even on the number of words exchanged. Just a silent connection. True love, the kind that Allah allows, does not come to fill a void. It comes to elevate you. It comes as an extension of your faith. You will know it is from Him when, in this person's presence, you feel your heart draw closer to your Creator. Not because this person talks to you about religion, but because your relationship with them becomes an ibadah. Because they encourage you to be modest, respectful, and conscientious. Because it makes you get up to pray when you are already scattered. Because you want to be better, not to please, but to deserve. And then you understand. This love doesn't come from below. It comes from above. But sometimes, Allah doesn't answer with the obvious. He answers with expectation. He doesn't send you a voice, but a saber. And this saber becomes the mirror of your heart. If you hold on, despite the waiting, despite the uncertainty, it's because something within you has recognized a truth deeper than timing. You see, human love can be impulsive, sometimes even destructive. But when it is filtered through the love of Allah, it becomes a bridge to more light, to more awareness, to more peace. This love needs no proof. He doesn't need extravagant promises or long explanations. He is recognizable by his simplicity, by the tranquility in his chest, by the modesty of his intentions, by the presence that steals nothing but adds everything. When Allah wants to unite two souls, He doesn't rush them. He purifies them. He makes them patient. He makes them go through stages alone so that they can then walk together. You will never be ready to love fully until you have tasted Allah's love. For without Him, you will seek in the other that which can only be fulfilled by the divine. And one day, without warning, Allah will send that person to you. Perhaps in an ordinary moment, an ordinary place, a simple look, but your heart will know, because He will have learned to listen to Allah's silence. And in that silence, there will be an answer, not loud, not spectacular, just peace, just light, just a love that begins where true faith begins. 4. When signs don't seem like signs, you're waiting for a sign. Something clear, striking, something obvious. A coded message from heaven, an inner voice, a trigger. But are you sure you know what that sign should look like? This is where the paradox begins. You seek what your heart longs for, but you don't know what your soul recognizes. And yet, Allah is already sending you signals, not through lightning or visible miracles, but through subtle details, coincidences too precise to be the result of chance. Sometimes it's a word you hear several times in the same week, a name that comes up in different conversations, a face you can't forget, a feeling of peace when you think of a person, when nothing justifies this calm. But here's the problem. Your rational mind wants a clear sign. Your heart, on the other hand, is beginning to recognize the energy of a response, and this internal conflict is exhausting you. You want to believe it, but you're afraid of projecting it. You want to remain lucid, but you refuse to ignore something written for you. So Allah, in His Rahmah, chooses another path. He sends you tests instead of confirmations. not to make you doubt, but so that you can observe how the other person reacts when things aren't easy. Because sometimes your sign is that person who stays when everything around you is telling you to leave. It's that silence that calms you instead of making you anxious. It's that little inner voice that doesn't shout but persists. Allah's signs are not always gentle. They can be confusing. They can come in the form of separation, delayed timing, an emotional distance you don't understand. But in this apparent void, something is building. Allah shows you that true love doesn't run away from obstacles. It pushes through them. And sometimes He takes you away from that person, not to erase them, but so that you can rediscover them with renewed faith. You may not realize it, but Allah is preparing you to see differently. Not with your eyes, not with your expectations, but with your spiritual clarity. He wants you to become able to discern between what shines and what truly illuminates. Were you expecting a romantic message? Allah responds with a soothing istikhara. Did you want a sudden encounter? He offers you an unusual patience that is unlike you, but which you welcome with serenity. Were you hoping for an immediate rapprochement? He shows you someone who takes their time, and that's precisely the proof that He's not playing games. And then one day, confirmation arrives. Not with fanfare, not with a great emotional thrill, but in a moment so simple that only your attentive heart can say, "It's him. It's now. I feel it." Because in truth, you don't always receive a sign in what you see, but in what you feel deeply without knowing why. A silent alignment, a frequency that needs no words, a sensation that depends on no logic, but that imposes itself on you with a quiet force. Allah knows that you doubt, but He wants to teach you to trust without understanding everything, to follow an inner peace that becomes your best proof, to recognize that sometimes the greatest sign is your own change in the face of this person, your ability to be patient, to pray, to improve yourself, simply because their existence inspires you to rise, and therein lies confirmation, not in what you receive, but in what this waiting transforms within you. Now that you have heard this message, ask yourself a question. Is your heart ready to be loved as Allah wants you to be? Not a fleeting love, not an imperfect love, but a love that brings you closer to your Creator, not one that distances you, a love that was written in your qada long before you asked for it. If this message has touched something within you, it is not by chance. Perhaps this is your confirmation, the one you didn't expect to receive today. So don't ignore this reminder. Talk to Allah, prepare your heart, and above all, be ready to receive when you least expect it. Like, share this reminder and leave a comment. I am ready to receive the love Allah has prepared for me. Because sometimes, writing these words is the first step toward what you've always been waiting for.